O. Henry is an American writer, and his real name is William Sidney Porter. And he started writing in his pen name O. Henry. So it's a very good story. Let us see how the story moves on. Second
Yeah, ma'am.
slide, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
Next slide, sir.
Yeah, it is.
Second slide.
This is right.
First only scene.
Is it okay, ma'am? Hello.
No, sir, it is not. Second slide has not come. This is the
First slide,
first
right?
one
Second
only.
slide in a little area. Is it visible to you, ma'am?
Visible, sir, but the slide is not selected. Second one is not selected, sir. It is the first one is shown.
I think my network area is.
Just move to the.
Yeah, 1 minute. Let me share once again.
Yeah.
This is okay. First slide.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Ma'am, is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible now.
Okay. So the last leaf is a story which is written by O. Henry. Actually, his name is William Sidney Porter, and it was published in the year 1907. And it was set in Greenwich Village of New York. He's a famous American writer, and the story revolves around the themes of hope, sacrifice, and the power of art. Next slide. In a little area west of Washington Square in New York City, there were streets called places. And artists found these places and they started living there because of the cheap rent and the old attics. And soon this became a colony of artists and it was called Greenwich. So the story is set in this particular place called Greenwich. Sue and John C. had their studio at the top of a brick building there. And John C. was Joanna's nickname, and she was from California. Sue was from Maine, and they were very good friends. They met at an eating place, and thereafter they became good friends. And in May, they opened a studio together. And thereafter, as November came, a cold, invisible stranger came to the colony, and the doctors called him pneumonia. And he touched many of the artists with his cold finger, including John C. And John C. fell critically ill. In November, she suffered from pneumonia and used to lie in her bed without moving. She continuously gazed out of the window. So that was what she had been doing once she was caught with the pneumonia. And so her friend became very much worried. As we mentioned, they were very good friends, and Sue became very much worried. She called the doctor. Although the doctor came every day, Johnson's condition showed no improvement. And the doctor confirmed that Johnsy has no will to live. And in such a situation, the medicines were ineffective to cure her ill health. So it was the impression which was available to the doctor that she had no will to live. And she tried her best to make John C. take an interest in things around her. And she talked about clothes and fashion. However, Johnsy was irresponsible. And I mean, irresponsive. And she continued to lie still on her bed. She brought her drawing board into the room and started to paint. So that is the only thing she can do to soothe her friend. And suddenly she heard Johnsy whispering something. So as she was sitting and painting, she heard John C. whispering something. And she rushed to the bed and heard John C. counting, looking out of the window. She was saying 12. So she was wondering how come this her friend is telling that number. And after some time, she whispered 11. So as she was whispering the numbers and counting, Sue heard her telling 12, then she whispered 11 and 10 and so on. Opposite to the window, she saw an old ivy vine creeper climbing halfway up the brick wall. The creeper was shedding its leaves in the strong wind. So, as it is November and cold climate has been approaching, there had been cold wind throughout. So, the leaves were shedding its the trees were shedding its leaves in the wind actually. And John C. developed a thought that she would die when the last leaf fell. And moreover, she did not accept the soup which was offered to her. So, Johnsy, she actually developed some mental feeling, thinking that once the last leaf fell, she will also die. That was the feeling available to her. And she tried to show affection towards Johnsy. So, as far as Sue is concerned, Sue had been trying to show affection towards Johnsy, and Sue told her that she would not die. She was assuring her friend. So, even though Johnsy had been feeling that she will be dying once the last leaf is also falling, Johnsy tried to show affection towards Sue tried to show affection towards Johnsy. Sue told her that she would not die. And she kept the curtain open. That means the curtain of the window open as she needed the light to complete her painting. So, next slide, sir. She decided to fetch money for them by selling it. So the friend was trying her best so that some relief can be brought to this her friend, and she was trying to sell and fetch some money out of the painting she is drawing. And so pleaded John C. not to look out of the window. So only when she is looking at this out of the window that she had been feeling depressed. That is why the friend is asking, don't look out of the window. And she rushed to the ground floor to seek help from a 60-year-old painter. So, as she was having a painting and she was trying to sell it, she wanted to make it perfect. So, what she had done is she rushed to the ground floor and to seek the help from a 60-year-old painter who was there. And his name was Berman. His lifelong dream was to paint a masterpiece, and unfortunately, it remained just a dream. So, actually, there was one another person. They are seeking the help so that they can draw well this painting. And she told the condition of her friend to Berman. And she refused to eat and continuously looked outside the window. So whatever the condition of the friend is told by Sue to the painter, and she declares that she would not survive after the falling of the last leaf. Her belief also Sue is telling the Berman, and he condemned Johnsy for being silly. And however, he agrees to paint the last leaf for Johnsy so that she could recover. So the painter was telling all these things are some nonsense. But he agreed that he will be painting something for Johnsy. And Johnsy woke up the next morning. And to her surprise, the last leaf survived the storm, and it was clinging to the creeper, and it survived another storm in that evening also. So it is snow time, and there had been a wind blowing, and because of the wind all the leaves of that particular tree were particular creeper had been falling. So one by one, it started falling. And earlier there were hundreds of the leaves, and thereafter 12, 11, 10, she had been counting. And once what happened is they were fearing that all the leaves will fall. And that is why the friend went to this particular person called Berman, so that he can help her regarding the health of her friend. So this incident opened John C's eyes. Whatever he had done for John C, that incident opened her eyes. She apologized to her friend for being so irresponsive and depressed, and she realized that it was a sin to think of death. And then she calmed, she had soup and a desire to live. So, as she is walking up in the next morning, she was seeing the last leaf. Looking at that leaf, she was very much relieved, and because of that, she felt very much sad because she responded in a very bad manner to her friend, and she apologized for that, and telling that I am so irresponsive and I felt depressed. That is why I had to behave to you like that. And she realized it is always a sin to think of the death. And then she started doing her daily course. So then the doctor arrived. And once she is recovering, the doctor is arriving, and he told about the improvement in the health of John C. And he added that she would recover soon as her desire to live was back. So earlier, the doctor commented to Sue, telling that she had no will to live. Now the doctor told that she is showing some form of enthusiasm, and it means that she has a desire to come back to life. And she went to see Berman. At that time, he too fell ill, and he dies of pneumonia contracted while being out in the wet and cold. So, what happened is this particular man had been drawing the leave for that girl, and that he was doing in the whole wind, and there was snow falling also. So Sue tells this news to John C, and she tells her to look at the last leaf clinging to the creeper. So the John C is not aware that it is a painting which is seen outside, and she thought that it is the last leaf of that particular creeper. It is seen by her. Actually, it was the painting which was done by Mr. Berman, and he sacrificed his life for this girl. And she tells her to look at the last leaf clinging to the creeper. So, as she is looking at that, Sue is revealing her the truth that it was the masterpiece of the old artist Berman. So, it is not the real leaf, but the leaf which was drawn, which was painted by person. And he always wanted to produce a masterpiece painting, but had never succeeded in his attempt to produce the same. So we may remember that Berman was always trying so that he can paint some masterpiece, but he was not able to do that because of so many reasons. And now, at this point of time, since he wanted to help this girl to come out of her feeling and to come to life, he gave his masterpiece art. And however, to help her recover from her depression, he spent considerable time painting with great realism a leaf on the wall. So he gave all his efforts so that he can have a great piece of art. And thus he himself dies of pneumonia contracted while being out in the wet and cold. So all the day to draw this leaf outside the window of John C, he had been standing in the wind. He had been subjected to the bad weather. And because of this, he was caught with pneumonia and he died. So, as we conclude the story, The last leaf is a touching story. It highlights the human kindness and hope. So, in the world, this is actually a story which was written in the year 1907. But even at this point of time, even when we have passed some 200 years or 2 centuries, this theme is always relevant. There is something called hope. There is something called sacrifice. So Burman's ultimate sacrifice teaches us the power of selflessness. Burman was not caring for for himself. He cared for that girl. He wanted to do something to lighten up her life. So that is why he had that sacrifice. So the story always remain an inspiration for readers worldwide. So, just like the fame of O. Henry, the story also stands in the mind of people. And with this, I'm concluding. I hope it was enjoyable.
Yes, ma'am, it was. It was a very nice presentation
Yes.
from your side. And now
Yes.
I think I should open the platform, this virtual platform for some discussion. I invite all
Yeah.
to discuss the story, right? What are their interpretations and meanings of this story? I think that
Yes, sir.
we should open our video and audio, and we can discuss this. Right? Particularly, I have understood the story has something called art, something you can say how uh, the one of the characters, right? How she is obsessed with window, and how she is constantly fearing of the leaves, right? The decaying leaves, and that was her obsession. And how the painter Burman, right? How he diverted that obsession into somewhat called uh, artistic product, and that artistic art, or you can say that painting, that saves the life of this Johnsy. And it is not only the you can say remarkable piece of art, but it has also become her his lifelong achievement as far as artistic production is concerned. Yeah, anyone can share their views, right? Anyone can share his or her views, please, because we are here to discuss. Yeah, Dr. Bhatnagar, you can tell us something. You can enlighten us.
So I'm not sure what do I add, but what I was thinking was, why did this happen? Like, being a person from a medical background, I'm not sure if I am the correct person here, but what I was wondering was, because she was sick, and she could only see outside the window, and there was only one plant there, and that plant was actually growing in this normal cycle, and each day a leaf would fall because it was a fall season at that time. So and what I'm trying to understand is, because there was just one plant that she could see, and she could not correlate with anybody, lack of friends, lack of society, and somebody to pair up, somebody to talk to. So the only thing that she could see was just a plant, and every day a leaf would fall, she would count, and because it was the fall season, the leaf was naturally falling. But then now what is required here is that there should have been somebody who would visit her every day, talk to her, besides the doctor. It's not the doctor. The relevance is having a friend who would come and talk to you every day, be a part of your, you can talk to her anything about outside, what is going on inside, what you have eaten, what you have not eaten, the way we are gathering here. It's simply that we're talking, we don't know each other, but we're just simply talking to each other. And that is what is beginning to get the positivity in that person. So this is what I was wondering, why I had heard that story earlier, so it was nothing new. But then I was just wondering to kind of to add something, and I felt that here what is emphasized is having a friend or a company whom you can talk to, discuss without any kind of fears, and discuss out with, okay, fine, this is what I don't like and this is what I like, and that helps. The painting here is fine, like it was done by the painter, but the person who could perceive was quite late. He perceived that she's counting the leaf and each day a leaf would fall. So what I'm trying to say is here the main emphasis is that you need a friend in your company whom you should be able to talk to and respond and I like this and I don't like this, that kind of a stuff. That helps a person survive. This is what I feel. Thank you very
Now,
much for letting me
no,
speak.
no, no. As far as Jhansi's character is concerned, I have also repeatedly read the story, and I found that she was introvert, and
Ha, no.
she has not that habit of sharing, and she is very sticky. One of the important part of the story is she is sticky to open the window and to see the thing or the tree which is not desired to see, right, which cannot be
Ha,
you cannot and she is just thinking about the negativity of the weather, the negativity of the tree or creeper, and means she is in habit of watching the fall of the you can say leaves, and that is why this habit, according to my perspective, this habit is you can say modified or rectified, or you can say she is diverted from miss because one cannot divert her looking out of the window and watching the tree. So the painter solves the problem, or you can say he tries to make her positive through the use of art, because one
ha,
cannot
no, that,
miss
agreed.
and she becomes very sticky, and she's not
Ha,
talking to someone, she's also not taking the soup, right, and
correct, correct, correct.
she has lost all the hopes. And what the writer wants to teach us is that if someone is sticky, if someone is obsessive, do not depart her, or do not separate her from
Ha,
that
that
obsession. Because
That is what
obsession
I'm
is
trying
always
to
there.
say. That agreed. Agreed with all your point. But this is what I'm trying to say. Suppose you have somebody who's very sticky, is very obsessed with the fact that everything is negative. Do not give off that company. Do not give off that person. But try and help that person. This is what I'm trying to
Yes,
say.
yes, yes,
And this
yes,
is
yes,
what the
yes.
friends can do. This
Right,
is what
yes,
the
yes,
friends can do. A
yes.
company or somebody in your family or somebody around, that person can do. And the primary thing is, why should you get sticky? Because you don't have appropriate company.
Right, right.
This is what I'm trying to tell you. And you must go around with an appropriate company. You must stick around with people, meet more and more people. You don't know anybody, but then unless you start, you won't know anybody. You must try and meet people and be around with them, talk to them, speak up, say something, and that is how the entire thing progresses. This is what I'm trying to say. Nothing wrong about the company, but I just took a biological
Yeah,
aspect
yeah,
because I
that's good.
am
See,
from the medical background.
no, ma'am. In literature, every perspective must be listened. Every perspective is
Correct,
true,
correct, correct,
right?
correct,
So every approach you can justify, or you can criticize the text, keeping in mind every perspective. And
correct, correct, correct,
that is what we are doing right here as learners. So this is a learners
correct, correct,
program, right? And
correct, correct, correct.
I must respect your perspective. I must I must be enlightened from other perspective too, right? And
True, true, true.
one of the key aspect in the story is she's pneumonic, and she
Ha,
has been
ha, ha,
suffering from pneumonia, and that is why this
ha, ha, ha.
pneumonia may or might have, you can say, affected her mindset, and she might not be able to, or she might not wish to right, talk to her friend, though they are both friends, good friends, and they have established the studio. Yet after when you are suffering, or when you are suffering from some illness, right, it is not, you can say, it is not hope, or you have not that habit of talking too much, right, because you are suffering from some disease. And as far as the waste is concerned, the cold countries are concerned, pneumonia is dangerous.
Correct, correct. And it's a contagious disease. If one person has it, the other will have it too. It's a
Right, right.
flu-like kind of disease. Yeah, that is correct. That is correct.
Yeah.
But still, what I'm trying to say in
Ah,
general perspective is that uh, open up, speak up, talk to
yeah,
people, be
yes,
around, irrespective
yes.
of your disease, just speak up, hang up, talk to
And then,
people, have many friends.
why,
Since
no,
you're
no, no. Why she is at last saved? She told or she uttered the words like 12, 11, 10, and 1. These are these are the signs of communication.
correct, correct, correct.
She was trying to convey the message that see the leaves are falling, right? And the leaves are associated with my mindset. The leaves are associated with me, right? And as the leaves fall, I may also die, right? So she
That is true.
communicates. At last, she communicates, right? And
Huh,
that
that
saves
is what, and that is the respect
yeah,
makes. Huh.
then that saves her life. Okay, anyone?
Ha, ha, ha.
I have Sneha Bajaj, Dr. Sneha Bajaj, Dr. Hina Patel. You can talk to us, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
My name is Neha Bajaj.
Yes, ma'am.
I would also like to just put up a point that okay, John C is like communicated very well throughout the story.